Trekkies and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on the Trek Tuesday. I'm your host Dorinda, and together with my lovely co-host Amanda Hopper, we recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped in chronicle following. We will approach each episode with humor and a feminine look. Join us watching this episode and recap it. Today we recap the episode Heart of Glory. A Worf episode. Well guys, let's call Amanda again. Hello Amanda.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am doing good today. Like I told you before we started recording, that possibility my car will be fixed on Friday, hopefully, because like I told you, it sounded like a really noisy cat. Like, it was weird. Been like that for a few weeks, but hopefully they can fix it on Friday.
Hopefully, yeah. That would be good.
Yeah, because Friday, I'm going to Saturday, I'm going to an event called Free Comic Book Day at the Comic Hunter.
Okay.
Sadly, no costume contest this year.
Okay. But you were gonna have fun.
Oh yeah, I love going to that Comic Hunter. They love it when I show up. I tend to buy something every time I go.
Good. Well, so today we are recapping the episode Heart of Glory. And the first scene is that the Enterprise is getting a call from Starfleet Command that they need to assist in the neutral zone. And when they are there, it looks like a war zone. And they see a drifting ship, and it is Talarian. What is strange, because those freighters not really traveling through the neutral zone.
Yeah, so, I think they said they must have wandered in there by accident.
Yeah. So it is very strange, and everyone is alert to who knows what it can be. So when they are there, Riker assembled
Yeah, the Klingons are on that ship.
When they were there, Riker was going with an away team to investigate the Talarian ship, and he took Data and Geordi with him. And Picard was warning him of Riker, be careful, it can be a trap. So they went to the transporter room to beam down to the ship, and Geordi tries this new thingy out, this transporter out, on his visor. And it would be that the bridge crew could watch how he looks everything this way in through his visor. So they could literally see what Geordi saw. But this was just in the beginning phase of it. So they say it's just a short range, and we will see what happens. And I saw that Riker was very surprised, but also very excited about it.
Yeah, it was Geordi and Riker was with him, I think, and Data.
Yeah.
And when he looked at Data, Data had this really cool glow around his body, like kind of like one of those angel glows, basically.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, he had a different glow than Riker did.
And the weird thing was, Geordi said when Picard mentioned that, for Geordi it was totally normal, because he said, well, of course he got a glow. He's an android. But did you notice that when they beamed over to the ship, they had those small faces again?
Oh.
And I was really thinking, dude, why the small faces again? You have those big faces already. The Mark II ones.
Oh, yeah. I was watching the episode. I didn't really notice the size of them.
Yeah, they were really small. I think not even smaller than the smallest one we know.
Well, maybe they had a problem with the bigger phaser and it wasn't working properly for them to use.
Who knows? Who knows?
Things still break down in the future.
Well, you have to remember, guys, we are still recapping season 1. So they are still figuring things out. And we have not many left that we are going to recap season 2. So, but yeah, that was one thing I noticed right away. So, Riker, Geordi, and Data were investigating the ship. And I must say, the whole ship's environment, the whole look, it was pretty creepy. It was like from like a horror sci-fi or something.
Yeah, like when the ship's all busted up, it looks all really, it does kind of look a little creepy and eerie and noisy and foggy in there because of all the piping that's been broken and stuff not working right. So yeah, it gives it off a creepy vibe.
We really see that the ship is really in trouble and it falls literally apart. And that was what I really loved to see, was when Geordi scanned the walls of the whole of the engineering, he could see that there was battle fatigue in that part, and for the first time also the crew could see that. And it was very, how can I say that? It was very good to see that they could see differently than just how we normally see because of Geordi's visor.
Like they could probably see the cracks and stuff that you couldn't see with the human eye through Geordi's visor. It probably showed a lot more visual of how bad the cracks and falling apart of the ship was and how bad it gotten.
But they were in engineering now, and there was a big bright light. And Data scanned it, and he said, well, the life sensors are getting stronger. I will go ahead because the heat and the toxic will have much effect on you two, so I will go ahead. And you could literally see that Riker and Geordi had a tough time because of all of it, and it was very toxic. Data came back and he told them that he found the survivors, but they were behind a jammed door. So they went to that door, and Riker wanted to use the phaser to blast the door out, but Data warned him he couldn't do that because of the toxin. It was super dangerous.
Because if he shot off the phaser in an environment like that and not knowing what would happen, he could have made a big boom and the ship could have gone boom. It's like when you're messing with propane and stuff and you leave it on in a room and you turn it off and you go to light your lighter, boom.
Mm-hmm.
That could have happened.
Then there was a funny scene, and they were looking at Data, and Data asked, well, sir, may I? In the position of that he's going to open the door, and of course he's an android, it's a piece of cake for him. So
yeah.
But the whole asking thing, how Data did that, or how Brent Spiner did that, was typical Data.
Yeah. He thought, well, can I do this, sir? Let's see if I can get it open for you. And he was able to, like, I can't remember if he had push. Yeah, he had to push up on it, I think it was. Yeah, the doors opened upwards. Couldn't remember if it was upwards or sideways, but it was upwards. And he opened that door up, and that's where they found the 3 Klingons.
Yeah, the 3 Klingons. And when Riker reported that to the captain, you should have seen Worf's face. He was really like Klingons, what the hell are they doing on that freighter, and what the hell are they doing on neutral zone?
Because certain species, they don't like to wander in the neutral zone because it's kind of not a smart thing to do. You usually got to have permission to go into the neutral zone. I almost call it the smart zone. Oh my god. It's Tuesday, not Monday. Well, yeah, because the neutral zone is like a restrictive area. Same with the Romulans, they have their zone, which is basically a restrictive thing too. And certain species have restrictive zones that usually got to ask permission to come over to go to different areas.
Mm-hmm. So, the one Klingon introduced himself as Chorus, and there was two other one. One Klingon was injured, and Riker said that Data will carry him, but they need to get off the ship immediately because it's gonna blow.
Yeah, that Klingon, he's like, no, I'm gonna carry him. And they all looked at him like, okay, suit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to a spot. Yeah, they got to a spot in the ship where they could safely transport out. Then they started having a little bit of a transportation issue to get them out because they were phasing in and out between ships.
When they did that, Tasha had to go to the transport room, and I was really thinking, why is Tasha the one who beamed them up and not the transporter chief or a transporter member? Because that's weird. Tasha is security.
Yeah, she's security. I don't know. Maybe they wanted her down there for helpful use, I think, or security use or something. I don't know.
Yeah, she was there for security uses, but she was the one who beamed them over to the Enterprise. And normally, a transporter member or the transporter chief would do that. So I found that really weird because, like I said, she is security.
Yeah, that's true. She is security, so I don't know why she did the transportation.
The ship explodes, and the beam over was just at the nick of time that it went well. So they are on the Enterprise now, and Riker said, well, let me bring the Klingons to the sickbay so Dr. Crusher can help the injured Klingon. Ken and Picard went to the sickbay, but Worf wanted to go with him too, and so they went to the sickbay. And when the Klingons saw Worf, they were very surprised, but they were also like, what the hell does a Klingon do here on a human vessel? And I must say, the other Klingon who was not injured was very familiar, but I can't remember where he is from or where he did play again. It probably will be in Star Trek itself somewhere, but I can't remember where.
Is his real name in life called Reg E. Cathy? Was he the one playing the Klingon?
I don't know, but we
because
probably can't.
If that's him, he's in the show Outcast. And Brent Spiner is also in Outcast. Because Reggie Cathy, that's him as the Klingon. He played the police chief in Outcast.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Good show.
Picard asks the Klingons what the hell happened and what they are doing here on the freighter and in the neutral zone. And you could see right away that they were lying and that they had something on their sleeve, and it was so weird. So they were very fake in telling them what really happened, and they said that it was a Ferengi ship that would attack them, and they were just passengers on the Talarian freighter. So, but you could know right away that they were lying. They had something not good
yeah,
up their sleeve.
Yeah, the way those two looked at each other when they were getting ready to tell them, you can tell they were gonna lie about it.
Yeah, so they say something, and it was a little talk, and then Worf asked if he could show them their quarters, and when they were in the quarters, they immediately went to the replicator and ordered some food and drink, especially Klingon, of course. And Worf didn't eat. And they began to mock Worf of becoming soft and why he interacted with humans, and he didn't have a warrior's heart anymore, etc., etc., etc. And they really were getting on his nerve, and you could see that he was trying to control himself, and etc., etc., etc. So
yeah, you can tell Worf was getting really annoyed, and it almost seems like he wanted to give them both a swift punch in the face for mocking them. Didn't they also call him the pet of Starfleet or something like that?
Yeah. Because
that's another look.
They thought that because they want peace, that Worf was a pet or just a softie, and they were saying, well, there were a lot of... Well, I'm getting ahead, I see in my notes. So then Picard notified the Klingons that the injured Klingon is dying. So they went to the sickbay. And that is the first time we see in TNG a Klingon ritual. So when that Klingon passed, he's very young, by the way, they opened his eyes so his soul could go to Gretnor or Stoker-4. And
Silvercore.
Yeah. When they did that, and when he died, all the three Klingons howled so loud, and you could really see people in the sickbay was thinking, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, like I'm sure they probably heard it through other sections of the ship.
Yeah, probably. And later on in the episode, Data was explaining to Picard, Riker, and Geordi that it was a Klingon death ritual, and that they do that so they warn the Klingons that already have passed that there's warriors crossing over. And what I was really surprised by was that after the Klingon soul passed over, we human always respecting the body as well, and we cremate it or we are burying it or whatever. And they say, well, it's an empty shelf now, so get rid of it how you please, bye.
Yeah, apparently I don't think they have much in the way of like a ceremony for burials. They just do their ceremonial yell and they're like, okay, he's an empty shell, do what you want with the body.
They went back to their quarters, and they still were mocking Worf, and they were provoking him. So Worf tells them how he came with the humans and how he became a Starfleet officer. What was really nice to hear, by the way, because that is one of the things we don't see often of, or Worf don't talk about the human side of him very much. It's always Klingons.
Yeah, Khitomer attack. They found him amongst bodies, the human Starfleet officer did. Raised him up, got him to go to Starfleet there. And I think he had another brother that was human. He was stubborn about it. He didn't want to go into Starfleet, but Worf went Starfleet. And I think the last name of the parents were Roshenko?
Yeah, Ferengi, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we'll meet his son Alexander, and Alexander will take the last name Roshenko. So, yeah.
Did you, by the way, when Chorus was provoking Worf that the other Klingon was smiling, he was the most human of them all. Well, when they were provoking Worf, it reawakened Worf's instinct of battle, being a Klingon, etc., etc., etc. And they want to pursue him to join them, that he has to become a real true Klingon, and that he has to be a warrior, and they have to fight the Klingon Council, because the Klingon Council and a lot of other Klingons want to have peace with the Federation, etc., etc.
Yeah, the Council wants that peace, with the Federation. But these three, and there's probably others, that don't want to have peace with the Federation. They just want to fight, fight, fight.
And then they tell Worf that they had lied to Captain Picard. And they tell the true story. That they were the ones who attacked the Klingons. And they were the one who attacked those freighters. And beaming over to the Talarian ship, that was their only surviving ship that there was. And then they asked Worf if he could give them a tour on the ship. And I was at that scene I was thinking, Worf, are you that innocent? Because, dude, you could tell of everything, how they act and what they are questioning, that they had no good on their sleeves. You can't be kidding me, right?
Yeah, like, they asked Worf, can we get a tour of the ship? And then when Worf's like, yeah, sure. I was like, oh my god, are you serious? These guys were lying to you, and now they want a tour of the ship, and you're like, oh, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, that was so weird. And when they came in the engineering, what I noticed, and I still can't figure out why, most of the women are wearing the scant version of the uniform, and a few did wear the trouser uniform, if I can say it like that. Yeah. So it's still weird.
I know.
But I think the scant version went up till season 2, and then they skipped. They didn't wear it anymore. So
I think Deanna wore a couple of times throughout the seasons, didn't she? Or just the one time in the one episode?
I think she just wore it once or twice, and that was just very in the beginning. And that's what I also was thinking much was, why does Diana Troy of the whole crew wears something different as a uniform?
Yeah, like she just wears her regular clothes with the comm badge on it.
In a way. So
I like her clothes.
Yeah. Later on.
Yeah.
I did love her wedding dress.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
In let me see, in what movie was that? Oh, I can't remember. It's time I'm gonna watch those movies again.
Yeah, the one with Shinzon.
Was that with Shinzon? That is Nemesis.
No,
Can
be. Nemesis, I think, is the one with Shinzon.
Yeah. With a clone of Picard.
Yeah, I loved her dress. And Worf was drunk.
Oh! Don't know. Sorry guys, this is a little bit different, but I don't know if you guys ever have seen the podcast of Dominic Keating and Connor Trenier, who played in Enterprise. Do you remember that episode, The Shutterpod? When they were drifted in space in a shutterpod and they became drunk.
I never saw that one.
Well, the fun part was they were talking about that episode, and they actually became drunk on the set.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, really, Amanda, that was so funny. I will see if I can send you the link later on, because that is so funny. The whole, and this is a very different kind of a podcast, you known from Star Trek actors like, well, of course we know the
Will
Delta
Wheaton.
Fly. I don't know if Will Wheaton is doing a podcast, but I do know he does the Reading Room, and that is like a, yeah.
That's kind of like a podcast.
Maybe. But yeah, it was really, when I heard that they were filming it, but in that time they didn't have the CGI that good, or like other technical things that they could mimicking the breath. So they really were filming in a fridge, a big large fridge. So they gave them alcohol to keep warm.
Oh, wow.
I was thinking, oh my god, that would be one of the... They would have laughed about that for years after that, because they were lucky. How many people can say, oh, I went to work and I get drunk at work, and they allow me to.
I'm betting they had a hangover the next day.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. But those, I thought, how many whiskey bottles they drink? I thought about 2 or 3 whiskey bottles. They shot that whole episode in between 7 or 10 days, and every time they had to go in that fridge scenes, they had a bottle of whiskey.
Oh boy.
So that was very, very funny. They still were provoking Worf, and Worf was that man enough to tell them, guys, time is changing. Maybe you need to give this a chance instead of want to fight. They were particularly interested in the battle bridge of the Enterprise, because they have heard that when it has to, the saucer would be separated, and the battle bridge, who is very strong in the battle, would have an advantage of that, because the saucer will be filled with families, because Enterprise is still a science vessel. And, well, I do think later on when they fight the Borg, that would change a lot.
I think that the battleship, when it separates, I think it has its own separate force field when it separates.
Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
when they did the separation in the first episode of the TNG, that was the moment I got hooked on Star Trek. So
That
that's
was
why
really cool.
yeah, especially when we are talking about Q, who were already a bugger and a bastard to
Oh, yeah,
annoy
he is a
them.
jerk.
Okay. There was an unidentified ship approaching the Enterprise at warp 5. And several hours later they could have it on screen, and they saw it was a Klingon ship. So Captain Picard opened the hailing frequencies and informed the Klingon ship, okay, I'm Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise, and what are you doing here in the neutral zone? And the captain told him that they were looking for 3 criminals. And Picard finds out the real reason what happened in the neutral zone. So he also said, okay, yeah, well, I got them here, 1 body and 2 are still alive. So, and the captain of the Klingons were very demanding that they transport the prisoners over to them when they are in transporter range. So Tasha asked Captain Picard, "Sir, if we are going to pick them up right now, do you want me to stay here on the bridge, or do you want me to lead the security team?" And Picard said, "Well, lead the security team." And okay, that's fine. They encountered the two Klingons and Worf. And Worf, when Tasha said, "Worf, step aside, they are criminals, they need to go into the rigs, and they will transfer it over to the Klingon ship." And you really saw Worf in dubio. He, in one way, said, "No, this can't be true," and then on the other hand, he couldn't believe it. And for a moment, and there were 2 moments in this episode that I was thinking, oh no, Worf will help them escape. Thank God it wasn't. So they encountered those Klingons in front of a turbolift, and there was a mom and a little girl that came out, and the little girl was bumping into Chorus. And immediately Tasha Yar was thinking and saying, "Oh my God, this is a hostage situation now." So
No, I'm just gonna say, Yar thought, oh crap, he's gonna take her as a hostage, but then, Chorus, I think what he said was, we're not that mean, we're not gonna take anybody as a hostage.
no, that was Worf. Worf was a moment later when everything went well, and they and did you see the brig was totally different than the brig we see in the later season? It had a force field, but it was totally different. And
yeah, like it was red.
And when they escorted them to the brig, Tasha was signing, and wow, that went well, and this and that. I was thinking this will be a hostage, and blah 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 blah. And Worf was looking at her and told her, "Tasha, we Klingons don't do that. We don't take hostages. Only weaklings and cowards are taking hostages." I don't know. It was weird to see Tasha reacted like that. So, Chorus picked the child up and gave the child to Worf to show them, okay, we are not like that, and a child is very special. So, when Chorus and that other Klingon I forgot his name, were in the brig, they had departments for making a phaser, a Klingon phaser. So they used that to escape. And in the fight, the other Klingon died, and also one of the security officers. And Chorus went to the engineering and had his phaser pointed to the dilithium chamber. What is very dangerous, because one blow to this dilithium chamber and there were no Enterprise anymore.
Yeah, the lithium chamber, almost kind of like a nuclear power plant, basically.
Worf came to the bridge and Picard told him about Renegades and what really happened, and that was the point. I think Worf wasn't that, excited to say to himself, okay, you handled that well, you didn't give in. And you see, yes, I'm a warrior, but I'm also a warrior who thinks. And that's one thing I liked about Deep Space Nine, the interaction between Worf and General Marta, because they were like smart Klingons who put those, well, I don't want to say their ego or honor aside, but they think more and they were more smarter than the other Klingons. So when Picard told Worf about that, Worf said, please, can we think of another way? Because when we transport the renegades to the Klingons' ship, they will be executed. And at that point, Picard acknowledged Worf's mixed feelings about the whole situation. And you could see that although Worf was Klingon, he was also human. And that does remind me about what Michael Burnham had to go through. She also have been adopted by the Vulcan, and she has been educated and grown up as a Vulcan. What has a lot of funny scenes. For example, when she and Captain Pike went on this mission on Fairhaven, Pike were injured, and so when she had to meet him in his wedding room and say, well, sir, this and that, and he told her, well, don't make me laugh because I still have those broken ribs. And she reacted with a straight face and said, we Vulcans don't do funny things. What made him smile? But you see, it's just that because she is raised by Vulcans, she could say things like that with no smiling. And I think that's also a very beautiful thing to see how Spock coped with those feelings, because he was half human, half Vulcan. And people are very, and I must say, I was one of the skeptic fans as well of recasting Spock. But bear in mind, Ethan Peck, who played him greatly, performed greatly. Ethan Peck plays a very younger Spock than Leonard Nimoy's Spock. So
yeah, I got that movie there. What was it? I forget which movie this Ethan Peck was in, but it was a Star Trek one.
I don't know.
Into Darkness, I think it is.
No, that is Anthony. That was Anthony Zachary or something. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh.
I can't. But that's his. I don't know. I don't know what to think about Anthony Zachary's Spock, because I'm not really a fan of the J.J. Abrams movies, to be honest. So, and yeah, but it's the same, like I said with Spock and Michael, it's the same situation as in what Worf was in, and it was very nice of Picard to acknowledge that. So, let me see, engineering. Worf and Picard went to engineering, and Chorus just wanted to talk only with Worf. And Worf has this beautiful speech. Really, I was very impressed by that. So he climbed up the ladder to Chorus on the second floor, and they were talking, and Worf was saying, dude, you need to change. Times are changing, and the struggle of a warrior is not that he fights or not fights, it's the struggle within. It's like the two wolves. Worf was a little bit of... He shot Chorus, and Chorus fell down. Worf knelt next to him, and like always when he passed over, Worf was howling, and I think there was more howling than they would do with three of them. So
Yeah, I think it was a lot louder. Just Worf alone was a lot louder than when the three were combined.
yeah. But okay. So then they encountered the Klingon ship, and they kept Worf told. Picard told the captains what happened, and then the captain wanted to talk to Worf, and Worf got an offer of the Klingon captain to serve on his ship. Well, it was intriguing because the captain said, well, maybe we can learn something from you, but you can learn also something from us. And I was really and Worf thanked him for it. And they departed. And when Worf walked to his station, everyone was looking at him with the question, are you going to? And Worf was saying, well, Captain, I have no plans to determine my surfing the Enterprise because I love it out here. So don't be scared that I will transfer over to the Klingon. They were happy he wouldn't. And when Worf was at his station, Picard said, well, Mr. Worf, when you do, or if you would, you will be greatly missed, and the bridge will never be the same when you are on it. And I remember, I think, which movie was that? Was that the movie or was that the episode? I can't remember. When they fought the Borg. No, that was a movie. When they fought the Borg, and Worf was the captain of the Defiant. And
yeah, that was the First Contact.
First Contact, yeah. Was that First Contact? Can't remember.
Yeah, that's when they met the Borg, and Alice Cringe was the Borg. Data gets kidnapped, and Worf comes onto the Enterprise after the Defiant gets messed up.
Yeah. Well, that was also funny to see again because it was when you see this scene, it reminds me of that with the Enterprise will always be a home to Worf. Wherever he is. Yeah, I think this was the episode. We are at the end of it now. So, Amanda, what do you think about it? What is your rating for this episode?
Oh, geez, it's my turn. Oh. I'd say around a 9.
Yeah, I would say that too. I really love the storyline.
Yeah. It's like one continuous story about the Klingons.
Yeah, but also this is the first really episode that they write the Klingon tradition, and that's what I like about in the later seasons. They really have
you learn more and more.
Yeah, they have a real storyline of Worf, and I really like that. And also that Picard is really involved with it.
There's also a 2-parter episode too with Worf in it. Forget the name of it, but it's Data and Worf. I think the first episode it's a bit about Data, but then it goes into Worf territory. So it was a good episode for that 2-parter.
Well, most of the times I like the 2-parters because the storyline is better. The whole filming of the episodes is better, and that's what I like about. The only thing that is a little bit weird, most of the 2-parters is a season finale of one season and the beginning of the next season.
Yeah. So I think that was the way with the 2-parter of the episode Descent. It ended one season, then it started the next season.
Yeah.
I think that's how Descent worked out with Data and and Lore and a bunch of Borgs and Hugh the Borg.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a two-parter.
You know, I do feel it sucks that they killed off you in Picard so early in the season.
I know.
I wanted to see more, and also Ichab.
I know. I heard of that. Yeah, Icheb, they killed him in the first season.
In the I don't know if was that in the first episode. I can't remember, but it was really in the beginning.
Yeah.
But okay, then we're coming at the question, and this time Amanda, you was the one who will think of a question for our listeners.
I forgot it was my turn. God.
You want me to do it? Because I do have a question.
Yeah, I'll let you do it then, because I didn't think of it. I forgot it was my turn. Dang it. Oh. My brain don't focus too well.
Maybe I had to remind you of it. Next time I will.
Yeah, you had to remind me. That's how bad my mind is at times. I can't remember who's doing what.
Well, my question is, guys, we saw in this episode that the Klingons had a ritual when they pass away. Do you guys have a ritual in your culture that you like to share? And it doesn't have to be a death ritual. It can also be another ritual.
Well, one of my friends, I think it was last year before last, she lost, I think it was her husband's name was Al, and they had an Irish funeral. It was like an Irish thing.
Okay.
I forget how it went, but she invited a bunch of people over and stuff like that. And yeah, her name was Camille. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but she's a member of the cosplay community.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what they did. They had, I think it was like an Irish funeral, I think it was.
Yeah, there can be. There are traditions in Ireland that is...
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think it was Irish. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I have to ask her. But I think it's somewhere on Facebook. I just can't remember what it was. So, yeah, like a potluck or something like that with different foods.
Yeah, and a lot of music and dance is more like a celebration instead of... Yeah, guys, we are at the end of this episode. I hope you like it. I hope you guys just comment in on the Facebook group or on YouTube. Because we really like to hear what you think about it. And, well, the next episode we're going to recap calls the Arsenal of Freedom.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. They go down to the planet and all these weapons go haywire. Data, Yar, Picard, and the Doctor go down the planet.
So that will be interesting. Is there something you'd like to add?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay. Good. So that's the only one thing we can do, and that is, we see you guys in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, guys. And don't forget, Mother's Day is coming up.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening, and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode The Arsenal of Freedom. Ghost Talking Track is also to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. If you'd like to comment on the episode or talk with us about the Star Trek episode we just recapped, you can reach out on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel of Ghost Talking Trek. We will see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.